One of the things that I was most strongly interested in was having a voice to address this kind of these kinds of situations where especially young people are feeling very powerless to do something about inequalities that they're being confronted with. I wanted to create or somehow conceive of a piece that could speak to that without preaching or without calling anyone wrong or without making a situation bad. I don't want to tell people what's wrong. People know what's wrong. They can make up their own mind. I want to show them what could be right. And when you want to elicit a type of behavior, you have to use that type of behavior. And so if what you want is to receive love and to spread love and to see love everywhere you go, then you can't use anger or hate. You have to use love. And it was even Einstein said, the only way to attract what it is that you want in your life is to give what you want to get, and it cannot be any other way. Even Jesus, all of the great wisdom teachers have known this, but for some reason, people seem to forget that, whether they're busy and they get upset and you get emotional. You cannot get what you do not give. A few years ago, when I started to really realize that the work could really bring a powerful message if it was strong enough, if it could really stop people in their tracks and make them want to know more about it and what it's about. If that could happen, then if it was really about something significant, maybe I could affect change, real change. And so this is in a line of sculptures in the past few years with the attempt to astound with its scale and with its with the beauty and brilliance of it, but to cause people to take a moment to really discover what it's truly about, so that in the process they might perhaps consider the message that it is I'm trying to communicate with the work, or at least that corresponds with the work. One of the most beautiful things about this form that we're in is this amazing glow and this gradient that we can create with these colors. 30 years ago, we couldn't make this because these materials didn't exist. But today, you can get these weird balloons in a variety of gradients of color. There are multiple blues and multiple greens and multiple yellows and multiple browns, and I can use them the way a painter might to allow the light to come through in such a way that it can illuminate a viewer on the inside, or it can cause the inner area to glow a certain way, and even to create colors that might not be available or that you wouldn't otherwise see daily in nature. This work is a direct descendant, or is a continuation of a language that began in sculpture for formalism and form that started probably in the mid-century. I guess realistically it started in the early modern paintings of peasants, and then it has continued, and it's sort of unfolded into all of the subgenres and into postmodernism. And I don't know if you would consider these materials a postmodern material. There is an absurdity, but they certainly borrow from all of those along the way. So I think art history is absolutely critical and essential, and I think my lucky stars that I had the professors that I did that taught me so much, and I'm glad that I stayed up all night long, all those semesters, cramming all those hundreds of slides into my brain so that I know what I'm making, or at least that I know what I'm not making. But I guess I'll have to leave it to time to find out if others will forgive me for using this material, and if others will be interested in making work like me and carry on what it is I'm doing in other ways that could be better or bigger or more amazing. The process can be very challenging, and anybody who was in here during the installation process will know that we have to go through great lengths to get an environment in which we can create this form and actually make it work. And I've had people come to me and I'm wearing braces on my wrist and tape on my fingers and I'm sniffling and I'm knee pads and I look like I'm absolutely miserable. And the security guard walks through. He doesn't know anything about art and he says, why do you do this? And perhaps one of the things that I enjoy most about what I get to do is something that I talk to my participants, volunteers, assistants, helpers. One of the first conversations that I have with them as I'm bringing them into the fold is that this is where the magic happens. Because we're making something here, something that feels almost like it matters in a way that it might seem absurd to others, but people experience this on a real level, that they walk away feeling like they've been part of something that they're going to use what they learned and they felt, and they're going to recreate that later in their own lives. Yes, it is absolutely 100% a spiritual practice. And it's spiritual in every way, in the way that we are relating to one another, at least from my perspective. For me, it's very spiritual in how I'm responding to what my assistants are giving. And I believe by the end, I feel like there's a connection among them as well, if there wasn't already. When this interview's over, I'm going to fly home, and then I might be off to the next one. And then I'm going to work like a fiend for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to leave that one behind. And in a month or two, I'm going to get a call from you about how to deinstall this thing, and I'm going to tell you to jump on it and stomp it to death. I rarely get to see what it's like at the end. It's 6 weeks later or something, and sometimes I'll see a picture and I'm amazed that it still pretty much looks the same. Like, wow, 6 weeks, it's amazing, it's great. But I know going into it that what this is about what happened in this room when we made it. So for me, in a way, it's kind of already over. I think there's maybe a level of detachment, and maybe this process has been part of an awakening within me that has led me to realize that what truly matters are the relationships in life. So right now, what more is needed? Nothing.